I needed a doctor.
Did you have a wrinkle or a toothache? Otherwise, I can't help you.
Hi, John.
Hey there.
They sent my husband home a couple of times from the hospital, and I was thinking, what am I going to put in here?
Yeah.
I didn't quite think it was good enough.
I walked right out. I brought my cord and my charger, so.
I know that was
are we recording?
my charger too. No,
I've got a charger.
no, I don't need it. I don't need it.
Is that art stuff affecting you at all?
No, not at all. We're on total consistency.
Chaos.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna do it.
You put these on the floor, so we can see one another.
You want to see me? Well, I saw you get the problem.
I'll let you know if it changes.
I saw you go back to problem.
I know, and I had some of both.
Did you?
Well, I asked him which one was good, and he said both.
Well, what's a guy to do?
You don't
want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Right, exactly.
We put these bags down on the floor.
Regents, the bag that you found at your place, Santa Claus came early, and they asked the President's Cabinet to deliver these gifts to y'all.
Oh, man.
And just thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for all the work you do.
Santa has great elves.
Back at you, Joe Bill.
All right, we're going to call to order the status update meeting of the Amarillo College Board of Regents for November 28th, 2023. We're going to adjust the agenda, but the first thing on our agenda is moment of reflection from Lauren Zuniga.
Yeah, Lauren's here, and I'm going to introduce her.
Thank you.
So Lauren is a 2022 graduate of Amarillo High School, and she's a business administration major here at Amarillo College. She is very involved. She is a member of Phi Theta Kappa. She's also a member of the Future Billionaires Club. If you guys had joined that club when you were in college, you wouldn't even be here right now. Right?
I can join it right now.
Is it too late? She's also helping to found a student organization here on campus called Voters' Choice Club. And she is the president of the Hispanic Student Organization. And she and several of the other members traveled to New Orleans about a week and a half ago. It was pretty amazing. Lauren is going to graduate this spring in 2024, and she has an interest right now in transferring either to the University of Texas or to West Texas A&M University or to Texas A&M. And I was just telling her I'd like for her to also consider SMU. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more.
And Texas Tech.
Yeah.
For that?
Yes.
All that one?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll let Lauren lead us in a prayer.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Bob.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this evening. Thank you for this wise and thoughtful group of men and women. I pray that you would bless this time as they come together to make decisions that are in the best interest of Amarillo College and our students. I pray that you would be with Ms. Skinner as she walks through this time as interim president and with this board as they continue to serve our community. Amen.
Amen.
Lori, can we ask you questions?
Sure thing.
What is the best thing about Amarillo College? What have you liked the most?
The resources and the people.
Tell me about the resources.
Well, there's a lot of things that Amarillo College offers. Definitely for the people that are less fortunate. Definitely for the students who are less fortunate. From mental health, from money issues, from from education, Amarillo College offers all the help that you can. And I really appreciate that. Also, I am a peer mentor here at Amarillo College. I'm a student worker, so I have worked one-on-one with many students of all different backgrounds. And I'm just so very thankful for being part of this institution.
What is voters' choice?
So voters' choice, another name for it is voters' voice. The fundraiser chair for HSA, she is founding it. And basically it is a club that will help encourage specifically my generation to go ahead and vote, to register to vote, be more involved. So that's
Excellent.
Could you tell us a little bit more about, is it the Billionaires Club?
That's what he said.
Yeah.
She's not a billionaire yet.
So Future Billionaires, it's a club that mainly directed to business majors. It's a club that really sets us up for our careers in business. So for example, and on Friday, they set up a time for us to go to the Amarillo National Bank to explore it, to go ahead and look at job offers, internships, and so they just do different things every week. And it's a new club. They just created it this year, so I'm very honored to be part of the making of the club.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. Student Government Association report. Sophia.
Hey guys, I haven't seen you in a while, so I have a lot to report. So for our welcome week, starting for our fall 2, we did have a Make It Monday where we want our students to DIY and make stuff of their own. So we did have spooky slime, so where we made slime, and then we had like little Halloween decorations because it was around Halloween time, and it was a pretty good outcome. We had 153 students to participate in that. Next, we had our game show, which it was Halloween themed because it was around Halloween, and 68 students did show up to that. And then after that, we decided to show a scary movie at the drive-in, free for all AC students and their guests, and we had 114 students and 65 guests. Then we had our annual pumpkin patch where we partnered up with the police department, and they had a trunk or treat, and we had our pumpkin patch, and we had free pumpkins for our AC students and for them to bring their guests. And we had 212 students, 279 adult guests, and 346 children. Wow. And then we had our magic show to end off that week on a Friday, I believe, and we had 45 students show up to that. And then we like to get involved with all of our students, so we had a fall online trivia, which 23 of our students showed up. And then we did go to our East Campus where we did give them Chick-fil-A for a free dinner, and we had 62 participants in that. And then we did have our pumpkin hunt, which is something different we wanted to do this year. So we went around all campuses and we placed pumpkins with little clues on them. And each clue that you had to go find the next pumpkin. And at the end, you won a prize and you went to the student life office to claim your prize. And then every Wednesday, SGA does have our general meetings in the Oak Room, but we wanted to switch it up to inform our students and to get them to know more about our resources here at Amarillo College. So we partnered up with the Counseling Center, and we had a Let's Talk About Stress with 49 students occurred. And then we had another Make It Monday for keychains, where students came out to the clock tower and they could design a keychain however they liked. And some more information I would like for you guys to know is we did travel to Odessa College while we haven't met. We partnered up with Odessa College, Midland College, South Plains, and El Paso Community College, where we just come together and like develop more together as a community. And then Student Life did start their new What The event, and it's where like a hot topic is brought up, like banning TikTok or legalizing marijuana, and like students will come and they will voice their opinion, and like they just get to hear what everyone has to say about it. And then we are planning
You gonna have to show up?
And then we are planning a hot chocolate for our West Campus to give away goodie bags for them around the Christmas time. And we have made over 800 of those. And then we're having our annual Winter Wonderland soon for our December event for our Christmas, where we invited fellowships to have crafts, photos with Santa, and all clubs were invited to participate. And then multiple clubs have recently traveled, like HSA, SGA to Region, and I know Backstrip Crazy has traveled and other clubs have traveled too. And that's all for my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 3, introduction of Division I transfer athletes. Mark White.
Yes, we have our baseball coaches, Coach Raines, Coach Cobb. They are here to make a historic announcement for the Amarillo College athletic program, and we're very excited to hear what you have to say.
Absolutely, guys. I'm so excited for these two guys. Like Mark said, these are our first Division I signees, meaning that they came here as freshmen that are now sophomores, and they're signing their Division I letters of intent to go on to play at the next level. Okay. Not only did they sign Division I letters of intent, but they also went to the Power 5 conference, which is kind of the best of the best for you guys that don't understand that. And not only did they go Power 5, but they're going to the Big Ten conference, and I'm going to let them tell their stories a little bit more so than I can. But these two guys are definitely a prime example of the vision that we thought about and what we think it's going to be, and it's rapidly taking shape. So I'll let these guys introduce and ask them lots of questions. Okay.
Hello, my name is Jan Avila. I'm from Bayamon, Puerto Rico, and my major is on business administration. So I came here to Amarillo. We developed as a student and as a player. And last year, this September, I got the opportunity to go to the All-Star game. And there were a lot of schools. And one of the ones that reached out to me was Rutgers University. I talked with the coaches. I went on a visit 3 weeks later. Loved the place, loved the baseball, loved the school, the academic-wise. They have a great business. I want to be a finance manager. So they have a great business school, and I talked with the coaches. I feel it's the right place to go, and I committed.
My name is Gabriel Watson. I'm from Waco, Texas. I went to Midway High School, a big 6A in Waco. And I'm a business administration major here. And I got in contact with Purdue is through one of my old coaches, hit me up, and I was already talking with Coach Raines with other colleges in interest with me, including like Baylor, Texas State, and I didn't really reach out until I went up to a camp up in Purdue, and Purdue gave me an offer a week later, and here I go.
So how's that work? So for next fall, is that when, you transfer at the end of this semester, and then, you're playing for us this spring?
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then you go. Okay.
In the fall.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
Tell us your positions and what you do in baseball.
I'm an outfielder and pitcher.
I'm a shortstop.
Gabe throws about 94 miles an hour.
Wow.
So,
That's good.
How do you guys like playing in Hodgetown?
Oh, it's amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
It's amazing.
Great place.
Was that part of the reason you came?
Yeah. That's a big part of the reason I liked it. Yeah.
We have a great coaching staff, and they gave the opportunity to come, and Hodgetown is one of the places. Well, it's a great place to play baseball and develop as a student too. Yeah.
What's the best part of Amarillo College, in your opinion?
I would say our team. I love our community. I just love our community. We all push each other. You see us in the weight room doing like challenges. Oh, it's just like the feeling that like the people you get to meet here, and the teachers are really awesome. Professors.
You guys placed a lot of trust in us to come here.
Absolutely.
I've heard Hodgetown was a big reason, and the coaches. Had you ever heard of Amarillo before?
No, sir.
That's so interesting. That's fantastic. How did we connect?
We gave it a showcase in Metroplex maybe. I don't remember exactly where it was, and then Jan was just I went down to Puerto Rico to see some certain players and saw him. Wasn't the person I was actually going down to look at, but saw him and I was like, hey, who's that guy? And got to know him as a person and things like that. So, the thing about this whole recruiting process, guys, and I don't want to take a lot of your time, is coaches, we can make mistakes, okay? In other words, if we choose the wrong guy, well, we get to do it over next year. We get to find somebody else. Maybe the player we signed wasn't that good or something happened. We made a mistake on the guy, okay? So, but these guys put a lot more trust in us to get them where they need to be than us trusting them, if that makes sense. So, for like you just said, I mean, these guys, first-year program, never even heard of Amarillo, haven't been there, and to go from where they're at now to being able to graduate at such a couple of prestigious universities, not only is going to help their baseball career, but it's like I told them, it's going to help their legacy as people. It's going to help their legacy and their family's legacy. So we are extremely, extremely proud of these guys. And there's probably about 3 or 4 more that you're going to be reading about here over the next few months coming up for sure.
How does it make you feel to have this type of success?
Proud dad. These are my kids. I spend every day with them. Treat them like my own, and we want what's best for them. And these guys, they do everything that we ask for them, day in and day out. And they make sacrifices and things like that. And like I said, they chose us over other people. They could have went to a lot of other places, but they chose to come here, and we owe them our absolute best as a coaching staff to make sure that we take care of them as well. So. And Gabe did a great job of talking about our culture that we have, here with guys working hard and things like that. I mean, it's a great place. You guys have done a great place, and this environment that we have is not just from athletics, it's from the whole thing of Amarillo College. The way you guys treat your students and everything that you've done, it trickles down into athletics. And, the young lady talked about it earlier. So, for us to have this opportunity, these guys to have this opportunity, it's just a really blessing for every single one that we have. So,
well, congratulations! It's a big deal, guys, that y'all are going to Division One.
Thank you for
Congratulations.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you all so much.
Bye.
Congratulations.
Have a good season. We're going to move item 6 up now and with the tour of the Bible chair. And Mark, you're going to lead that.
I want to introduce Merle Worthy. Merle, if you'll come up to the deal there. Merle is the director of our Bible chair. He's also an adjunct faculty member in our humanities department. And it's been a while since we talked about the Bible chair, and I'd like to take a few minutes to remind ourselves what the Bible chair is and isn't. And then he's got a beautiful new building that the students use, and it's not far down the street here. We're going to go tour that as soon as we're finished here. But Merle, tell us a little bit about yourself and the program.
Okay, Mark, thank you. I really appreciate your inviting me and allowing me to say a few things about the Bible chair. I moved here in 2017, my wife and I, from south of Richmond, Virginia. We had been there and have been involved in ministry for the past 40 years before coming here in 2017. And I really enjoyed the fact that I could spend these last years of my career teaching and bringing to a conclusion what I've been studying for all of these years, and especially applied to the college level and a degree in religion. But when we arrived here, the Bible chair had been in existence already for 50 years. This is our 51st year. But we needed a better facility. We were at an aged house that was over 80 years old and with a lot of problems, and we needed to get a new building, a new place. This past July, we were able to complete the fundraising and the construction of the building. Mark and I, in conversation, he's asked me several questions about who pays for the building, who owns the building, who supports me, because that's not allowed by the agreement with a state school for religion to be taught. The San Jacinto Church in 1972 established the Bible chair here. And though there have been others over that 50-year period, because of COVID in 2020, the Southwest Bible Chair closed. Mr. Kohler was the director and a co-teacher with me in those classes. But now we're the only one. So all the classes for a degree in religion are taught at the Amarillo Bible Chair. Over a 2-year cycle, I teach 7 directly Bible-related courses. And in addition to that, as an adjunct under the Humanities Department with Dr. Hannon, I teach both philosophy and world religion classes. So I have a good number of classes in a 2-year cycle there, and several of those I teach more than once, especially philosophy, because it's a required course, so a lot of students are signing up for it. And world religions. My philosophy class is Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, so in a little while I got to be over there. 7 to 9:45. But we have really enjoyed these past 6.5 years of becoming acquainted with Amarillo College and the area churches. We raised the funds for the building prior to construction beginning. So we had all of the funds available and ready, and then went to the Planning and Zoning Commission and the other committees necessary to get that approved. But all of that was paid by churches and by individuals. The ownership of the title for the property belongs to whoever the overseeing church is at the time. Over a 50-year period, now 51 years, we've only had 3 overseeing churches. And the present overseeing church is the Bell Avenue Church of Christ. And that means that the eldership there receives the funds from the supporting churches and individuals. And they disperse those funds. We have an overseeing group to do that. We have a treasurer who oversees that. So all of the expenses related to the Bible chair operation, including my salary and my secretary's salary, is paid in that manner. We have 14 churches, all the way from Texline to the north and Clovis, New Mexico. Most of the others are in the Amarillo area. But they have been very dedicated and very involved in that. The San Jacinto Church, by the way, they're the ones who started this work and has continued with supporting it now for 51 years. That's astonishing. Now, occasionally we'll have one of those 14 to drop out, and it's my responsibility to get my salary bill back up and keep it going. But it's a really wonderful opportunity for me, and I appreciate learning about the opening when Dr. Klein retired and being invited here. So I have a responsibility both to the community churches and individuals who support the work, and also to Amarillo College. I told someone today that I'm different from others. When I get fired twice. From 2 different groups. Well, I think maybe just 1 or 2 of the other questions, Mark, that we talked about today. But there was one question that I was always asked, and especially by those whose responsibility it is to oversee the religion department. But they would ask me, since you have been a minister for 40 years, do you know how to teach a Bible class academically? And I said, yes, I think so. I think I know what you mean by that. So Mark asked me if I would just explain what does it mean to teach a class academically. I think what she meant by that was quite clear. Sometimes what is taught, especially in a religious setting, is different from what it would be taught in a college or university setting. And she wanted to make sure that I was teaching it academically, that is, according to the customs of teaching and learning as in any school, community college, or university. And so even though it's a very broad term, I think I understood what the demand was. In other words, not to teach it denominationally, but to teach it biblically in a broad way that would educate rather than doctrinate. And that's what I'm trying to do. But I'll stop there because of the time factor, but I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
How many students do you have in the program?
Say that again.
How many students are in the program?
How many students? Right now, I have 11 in the Bible class. My classes are always in the morning, 9 to 10:15. And I have 11. And since we have moved into the new building, I decided to teach the class both in person and online. So they're two separate classes, of course. So the 11, I have 7 in person, and you'll see the classroom when we go there. It's a rather small classroom because of the numbers, but I don't have a minimum number before a class will make. If I have 1, 2, 5, or 6, I will teach the class. And sometimes students will need it to graduate, and I will handle that individually with them. But it is increasing because of making it available online. Some of my students right now are from Houston. One is on the coast in California. I had one student in Idaho near the Canadian line, borderline there. So we're able to communicate and connect with people that are outside of the Panhandle area because of that online. We are able to film the class, record the class, and immediately post it for students. And if my students here in person are ill, or a child is ill and they miss a class, they can see it immediately at home after that. But usually our classes are small. One of the reasons for that, by the way, is because religion majors, you don't have them lined up, to get a degree in religion. So they usually are smaller in number. But another reason is that it was once the case here at Amarillo College that it had the classification, all of the Bible classes had a classification of PHIL, of philosophy. And that was removed. You didn't do that, but Austin did. State policy had that removed. And when they did, it removed, of course, required courses. It's no longer a required course. You'd have to be in it as a major, or you want to just take the class for your own interest. By the way, the classes, the 7 that I teach, are classes that will apply. They are accredited, and they're accredited through your program, the religion program. And they're accepted throughout the country. If one is moving from here to a university to get a further degree in that field, they can do that. But I also teach classes that appeal to those in the community or churches, because we have 14 that are supporting us. So I would teach a class, Greek 1, for example, and have it just as an audit class, and have students and older people that are in the community to come be a part of that. I had a class for a summer, the entire summer, on Thursday night, and it was about 18 in the class. And I actually covered more than one subject during that 2-month period. And we would go for more than an hour. We would go 2 or 3 hours sometimes. But they pose the topic or the subject they wanted to cover. They might want to know something about the intertestament period between the ending of the Old Testament and the beginning of the New, from Malachi to Matthew. So I would cover that kind of material.
The 14 churches, can you name them? Not a test, but some of them.
Well, almost all of them. Well, I'm trying to think just for a moment, but all of them are churches of Christ, like Comanche Trail, San Jacinto, I mentioned, North Amarillo, Bell Avenue, those churches, Clovis, and they're all within the fellowship of the Churches of Christ. We did have others who gave money for the building of the building, and individuals gave large sums of money outside the church's treasury, that they gave money for that. Yes.
We can talk further on the way. We don't have far to walk, but put your coats on and let's go see the building. We can ask Merle some questions along the way.
Okay.
He's got to teach a class after a while, so we got to go. This won't take long.
Still in the hospital.
We're here.
Still in the hospital. Still nursing next.
Okay.
Did you see that?
Thank you.
Was it should be?
Yes. I just fell off. It all happens at once.
We'll go out this elevator.
administrators.
We share these duties. Let's share.
Yeah, we
don't have it. I don't know. I'm just gonna listen. I've been here a couple times.
Is Gabriel what?
Still somebody else.
Oh, yeah, I have. Y'all can slap your hand, but then when you said I'm gonna steal it.
You wouldn't have told
This time of evening, I don't know what I
Appreciate
you. You're welcome.
That's a nice pen.
Thanks for writing.
This is to go.
Wow. Wasn't it a great holiday though?
So that's a device.
I think we probably and I was saying, I think we probably will. Okay. I need agenda subject.
I know. I think it's AC's way, but I'm not sure.
No rum cake.
She does one more agenda?
I like your plan.
I still think we go in closed session just to say.
Board training.
If you was
Policies.
I don't know if you can make my right.
We have to do it so often.
Pretty much.
We're close.
Training.
No, it's not.
somewhere there's cards, yeah, cards being passed around. Okay.
I don't know if they keep it.
Need hot chocolate for the return.
I know. I thought I had my phone on silent and not all the bars were down.
It happens to all of us.
I don't like that. I charged it all up. I had something in the room and I walked out without my phone. So I had something just come in and I was like, there's something in the room. I was good to go. It's hard. No, I just hope you'll do the same thing.
Sorry, we got it.
You're related, I'll be here.
Do what?
Let's get my back.
I just need to ask.
I have no idea.
Money and travel.
I didn't look at the price. You're just like,
Travel thing, we gotta see what
I just didn't know.
we have to get off the support. I don't mind why we don't have to add it. It wouldn't be my recommendation to add anything.
I've been asked. Here's like about wrestling.
That keeps cropping up. That keeps cropping up a lot.
Yeah, that's what
But
big group.
and I can give a report.
We're gonna resume the status update. Mark, thank you for sharing that and that information. We'll now move into committee reports. Executive committee met and reviewed the agenda, and one of the things we talked about was bringing in Dr. Martha Ellis from the Texas Success Center to do some board training after the first of the year. And so this is, if I could get this from everybody today, it would make it easier for us to get a date down. It'd be like in the evening, 2 to 3 hours, which is why it's vague there. And if you can't make it at 4, say I can make it at 5 on this day or something like that. So if you fill that out, presidential search, I'm gonna pass off to Michelle to kind of report what's going on there.
We are looking at search firms, and we'll have a recommendation probably in January to the board for the firms.
Thank you. Thank you all for, I know you're doing serious investigations, so I appreciate that. And when y'all fill these out, go ahead and pass them down here and we'll collect them. AC Foundation.
Do you want to?
What,
Michelle or
I mean, we met, I'm trying to think what we need to report on.
We're involved with, is Joe Bill in here? Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
So we're working on the Panhandle Gives. Today's the last day, Giving Tuesday. Bid pep talk from the foundation for all the good things we can do for the community if we do well in the Panhandle Gives. So.
Yeah, in fact, if you don't mind, I'm going to just say one thing on that is we received an email from within the foundation board that we're trying to make sure everybody on our foundation board is giving to our Badger Bowl campaign. And so I gave today and I'm just encouraging everybody on this board. We've got the foundation that's willing to give, and so I'm encouraging everybody on this board because we're trying to get 100% of participation from each board member. It doesn't matter how much, just if we can get everybody to give shows really, I think, well for Joe Bill and his team as they're going out and trying to canvass our community. And on top of that, if you give today till 11:59 tonight, it gets amplified. So I just encourage everyone, if you can do that, I think it's a great thing to do. So,
thank you.
Good.
Do I need to redo the way I gave today, or?
Yeah, you need to increase it.
I'm a sucker.
Amarillo Area Foundation, AAF.com.
I think it's AAF or
I don't know if it's I just don't remember.
If you just go
What is the website? Panhandle Gives?
The Panhandle Gives.
The PanhandleGives.com?
Or
.org.
with the D Panhandle Gives.
And then I'll also say, social media taught me that the foundation got a cityscape grant, a street beautification grant from Center City.
Facade grant.
Facade grant. That's what I'm trying to say. For the IO. So, that's great.
And the tiers.
16,000.
16 from Center City, and then 50 from the tiers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a nice gift.
Yeah.
And great publicity for it yesterday that we weren't responsible for, which is really always nice.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you and keep up the great work. Museum of Art, again, Michelle.
Yes, they are also participating in the Panhandle Gives, and all the board members, they did a video of us talking about our support for the museum and put it on Instagram, I think. Getting ready for the gala. The gala will be at the end of January. The collector is out of Albuquerque, and he is virtually moved here he's been here so much that I think he really has moved here, and he's very invested in the gala and the show that will be in January.
Great. Do you know his name?
Ray Graham,
okay.
I believe.
All right, thank you. And Panhandle PBS, John, do you want to talk about Panhandle Gives?
I sure do. As we all are aware, today is the very last day. And so Panhandle PBS, out of its $25,000 goal of fundraising, has raised $21,500. So if everybody would click on the link tonight before 11:59 p.m., we can help them reach their $25,000 goal.
Yes.
Tears, David.
We had no meeting, so the only thing I was going to talk about was the facade grant from downtown women, or not downtown women, from from
Citrus City.
the City, yeah.
But Tiers also gave money, right? So 50. Yeah, that's wonderful.
A while back.
Oh, a while back, okay. And then Tiers 2, John?
Our meeting was canceled as well.
Tiers 3, Paul?
We met October 26th, and the discussion was about giving the Tiers funding to Rock Rose Development for that Tiers area because they're the big player that's out there, and that would need to be approved by the city council first.
Thank you. AFAB has had no meeting. Standing Policies and Procedures has had no meeting. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee met yesterday, and I want to just share that I've just sent out something regarding the Panhandle Gives, so everybody can have that. No, that wasn't really all that we discussed. But we actually had our audit that we will be discussing in our meeting this evening, so I'll defer to that. So that's all we discussed yesterday.
Great. Legislative Affairs has not met.
We haven't met.
And CAT?
CAT, we have our quarterly board meeting on the 11th of December. I'll be going to that in Austin at our building there. And then also I will be attending in Austin the higher education, actually the Higher Edge, it's the coordinating board's annual conference, and actually presenting at 1 p.m. with some fellow regents, and none of them are community college, they're all university system, on higher education governance and oversight. And so I'll be representing Amarillo College and CAT. I was asked to do that by Ray Martinez, and so I was honored to do that. And we are going to, in CAT, start working on our next strategic plan. TAC is going to do the same thing. I don't think they've ever really had a strategic plan, so we may be coordinating some of that together. But everything's going well so far.
Great. And nominating's not met. Annual grants report. Kara.
So as part of our transparency with submission and receipt of grants, I'm here to report on the last year, which covers September 22 to September 23. It was another really successful year for the grants department. We submitted 12 proposals. We've received 9, so it's a 75% award rate, but we still have 2 that are outstanding. We should know really by the end of January on the status of those. So if we receive both of those, that would be a 91% success rate, which is really unheard of in the grant world. Most of the time, if you get 40 to 50% of grants you apply for, that's really considered good. So I'm really proud, and I really want to commend Frank, Sophie, and Becky Burton, because they often lead the teams of for the grant development, though we have a consulting company that works with us. And so just really proud that we have crossed nearly, nearly 8 million or 7 million with another 3 million that's outstanding. So we did well this year. You should be proud. So, any questions? See how short that was.
Well, hang on.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thanks for the great work. I do have 2 questions just because I'm curious about these 2. The Children's Learning Institute, Texas Ready, and Education Texas Foundation, Weekend, Texas. What are those?
The Texas Ready Schools for the Children's Learning Institute, that's part of our child care center. Tamara could.
We are the fiscal agent for the Panhandle region, where we leverage the talent that we have in our child development program, and we train childcare workers. And we work with a cohort, usually 50 to 60 around the city and into the Panhandle region, just to make sure that we have quality childcare. And it helps us because it allows our students to, some of our students and our employees to actually get access to high quality additional professional development for our Haiti Center and our lab school. They actually are part of the cohort, so they're eligible and it's free.
Thank you.
So the Weekend Texas was part of an alignment with the Trellis Foundation for an apprenticeship grant that we had that ended in August, I believe, but they expanded it with funding from Educate Texas. So it was part of an apprenticeship with East Campus.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right. Does anyone need a break? We're done with status updates. We'll move right in then to calling to order the regular meeting of the Amarillo College Board of Regents on November 28th, 2023. Welcome, and let's have a pledge of allegiance. Please join me. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public comments. Mr. Fremer?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've got 3 minutes, and you know the drill. Are you
Yeah, I'm here to talk about the indivisible and our pledge, because I noticed that in the Dumas meeting that there was one of your professors stated they were dealing with DEI instruction in his, for holding the quality of his education with Amarillo College relationships. I've heard in this board discuss the DEI application as a office. It's not authorized based on state mandates. The DEI is not an issue that should be brought forward in our education system in Texas, and yet this professor was using DEI confirmation of his value of his education program there at Dumas. Well, he is a faculty member of AC, so I hope we are not dividing our country, because our pledge is that we're not divisible. And Mr. Khrushchev banged on a table back in 1954 saying that he will divide this country and destroy this country if we allow him to divide us. And DEI has a tendency to divide us into groups, give us definitions. So I would hope in your seeking out a president of this college that they're more involved with our community and our value systems in this community. So I'm an advocate for Mr. Nair again, put forward to this board to put him up as a viable candidate to run this college under the standards of this community, and try to move away from a college that would support division into gender, race, and other kinds of qualities that have infiltrated our country. And I did hear that we did have a body that came on here and did a drag queen on this campus. And people said it wasn't a drag queen, but people that witnessed it said there was a drag queen presentation made on this campus, and they rejected it at WT. And that was a curiosity to me that this happened at this campus about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Well, anyway, those are my comments, so thank you for taking them.
Thank you. Move on to, that's all the comments. That's right. Minutes. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So move. Second.
And John? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Consent agenda.
Move for approval.
Thank you, John.
Second.
David, thank you. There's nothing we need to pull out there for anyone. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And now we're item number 7, the independent audit report. Chris?
This is one of my favorite meetings of the year because it means the audit is almost over. So I want to introduce our auditor, Roger Tover. He's with Whitley Penn. He's our new auditors for this year. We have really enjoyed working with you. I think you'll see through his presentation the great job he and his staff do for us. I also want to point out Tiffany and her staff, the incredible amount of work that goes into an audit every year. and she has really put in the effort, and her staff has too. So really want to recognize her and your staff as well. So I'll turn it over to you and let you present our audit to us. Thank you. Yes.
And thank you, and the finance committee had a Zoom call with you yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Well, thank you, Chris, for that, and good evening. As Chris mentioned, I am with Whitley Penn. We're a CPA firm here in the state of Texas. We're all over the state of Texas, but this was our first time, our first year working with Amarillo College. We enjoyed it. The audit is just about over. I do have the results here for you, and I do have a presentation, but I'll second what I said as far as management and the whole team. They did an awesome job responding to our requests, to inquiries, anything, being the first year auditing for the first time at the college, there's always a transition. There's getting used to the new auditor, new requests, things like that. So all that, the process went smoothly. I haven't asked Tiffany if that's the case on her end, but on my end, it went smoothly. So I'll go through my presentation here. The first slide that I have on here is just the responsibilities when it comes to the financial statement audit, and the financial statements as well. So I have management. Management is responsible for implementing internal controls and the preparation of the financial statements themselves. The board is responsible for making sure that management is meeting those responsibilities. As independent auditors, we're responsible we're supposed to accumulate enough evidence to support an opinion on those financial statements. As far as the financial statement audit, the purpose is to provide the users of the financial statement audit with reasonable assurance they can rely on those financial statements. We did audit the financial statements for the fiscal year ended August 31, 2023. So it's as of August 31, 2023, and the year ended at that point. Our goal as independent auditors is to obtain reasonable assurance concerning the fair presentation of the financial statements. So there's no absolute assurance given that we do not test 100% of your transactions. We do take a risk-based approach. So there's a risk assessment that we perform prior to starting the audit, and that drives the rest of the audit. At any given point, if something comes across that we feel that we need to go back and reassess that risk assessment, we're always allowed to do that. And so that is the approach that we take, that we're required to take. And so therefore, our opinion is that our goal is to obtain reasonable assurance on those financial statements. As far as the process itself, we come out here a couple times, but the process itself takes about 4 or 5, sometimes even 6 months, depending on when we start. Typically, we come out here before year end, typically around July or August. August was the time that we came out here the first time. At that point, we'll have redone our risk assessment, and then we come out here and we'll start testing your controls, looking at your compliance, your major programs, you're testing those compliance requirements. Then we'll come back after year end, and at that point, we're here on number 4. That's when we perform our substantive testing. So we'll reach out to third parties, to banks, and start confirming with them independently. We'll also start testing your bank accounts, your reconciliations, anything that's on your financial statements. And then that leads over to number 5, which is where we are today, us issuing an opinion on your financial statements. As far as opinions on the financial statements, there's 3 options here. On the right-hand side, it's the unmodified opinion. So that is the highest level of assurance that you can obtain on your financial statement. Disclaimer, that's, if we were to come in here and the records, we weren't able to audit them, we're trying to validate some, request of support from management, and that's non-existent, then at that point, that's when the disclaimer comes in. Qualification, you do get some assurance, except for we'll qualify the opinion for certain areas if we were not able to be comfortable with some area, with fixed assets, accounts payable, whatever the case might be. Again, the unmodified opinion, that's the goal of any audit. And with that, the next couple of slides pretty much summarize the whole audit. So for the report on the financial statements, we are issuing an unmodified opinion, so that's the clean opinion, the highest level of assurance that you can obtain on your financial statements. We're also required to report on internal controls and compliance, and so we, at any given point during the audit, if we come across an internal control issue, then we're required to assess that and report to you if there's a significant deficiency or material weakness in your control system. We don't have any deficiencies to report to you. We also do not have any instances of non-compliance that are material to your financial statements. The other portion that we are required to look at is your federal funding. Given that the college does obtain over $750,000 of federal funding, that triggers what we call a single audit. This year, as you can see on the screen, there was a federal and a state single audit since that $750,000 was exceeded on both federal and the state side. So for the federal, we did test the Student Financial Assistance Cluster, which includes all your financial aid, and then the HERF funding. Those were the two major programs on the federal side. On the state side, we did test the TEOG, and then we are required to issue a report on those. We'll basically come in here, look at the compliance requirements for those programs. We'll test to make sure the college is in compliance with those requirements. And on top of that, we're also required to look to make sure that the college has proper controls over those compliance requirements. As you can see on the screen here, we're also issuing an unmodified opinion over those major programs. So again, that is the highest level of assurance that you can obtain. And we also are not reporting any internal control findings when it comes to your major programs.
What does HERF stand for?
That's the COVID funding that came in when, because of COVID. It's a
Our
long name.
Education Emergency Relief Fund.
And that should be going away. The next couple of slides, it's just required communications. As auditors, we are required to communicate to you these items. So we did apply government auditing standards. There's an engagement quality control partner. Every audit that we perform goes through several layers of review. In this case, the engagement quality control partner is another partner in our firm that wasn't part of the audit team. And so once our work papers and the report is ready to go, he'll give it a second review. Our audit started back in August of 2023. Our engagement team and firm was independent, as we are required to be. As far as the audit process, we did design the process to address both revenue recognition and management override control. So that was part of our risk assessment. For any audit, this is not specific to this college. This is just specific to governmental entities or any audit really of financial statements. There's always a risk that management can override the controls. There's always a risk that revenue can be recognized in the improper period. So when we're going through our testing, we're aware of that and we're looking for that. Again, I go back to the slide a few slides ago where we did not have any findings, even though those items were in the back of our mind as we were going through our testing. As far as their accounting estimates, your financial statements do include a few estimates. Your pension and OPEB are the two that we consider to be significant. This year we did implement, we were required to implement GASB 96. So the financial statements do include GASB 96. That has to do with your subscription-based IT arrangement. So any subscription-based IT arrangement that meet the definition under GASB 96 is required to be put on your books and capitalized, book and asset and liability. So that was implemented in the current fiscal year. We're also required to report to you if we had any disagreements or difficulties with management during the audit. We did not have any. We don't have any uncorrected misstatements. Prior to us issuing our final report, we will obtain a representation letter from management, essentially representing to us their responsibilities when it comes to the audit. And finally we're not aware of management consulting with other CPAs, other accountants when it came to our audit procedures or audit conclusions on certain audit standards. So to our knowledge, they did not consult or get a second opinion, if you will. This slide here puts 22 and 23, your main financial statements here. This is your statement of financial or net position. I have 23 and 22 side by side, so you can see how they compare to each other. On your asset side, there was a slight decrease there. You defer outflows and inflows. They're mainly related to your pension and OPEB liabilities, which is a non-cash liability that the college has, which is included in your liabilities there. You can see there was a slight decrease there. Overall, your net position went from 31.9 last year to 28.3 this year. And just because I did mention that your OPEB and pension are non-cash liabilities, up until a few years ago, that was just a footnote on your audit report, and then GASB came in, and then they made a requirement for those to be put on your financial statement. So here, I backed out anything that has to do with pension and OPEB, and I went back 5 years, so you can see your net position as it's stated per GASB. and then the net impact, backing out the net impact of your pension and OPEB, and you can see your adjusted net position there towards the bottom. This year was $104.9 million, which then if you can, another metric that you can look at is compared to see how many days or months of operation you have in your reserves. In this case, you have 11.4, which is slightly lower than what it's been in the past, but it's still pretty healthy. And then the next two slides just show you the fluctuation of that pension and OPEB liability. In this case, this is your pension liability. You can see that it's been in the $17 million range. Last year it was kind of an outlier just because there was a lot of changes in the market, a lot of discount in the discount rate. So all those are factors that go into that estimate that gets calculated by an actuary that the state brings in. And so in this year, you can see that went up to $17.9 million. Similar to your OPEB, this one actually went the other way. But you can see over the last 5 years where that liability has been. At the end of this fiscal year, it was at over $54 million. Just a breakdown of your revenues here. Just property taxes, obviously, is your biggest source of income, your revenue, followed by federal grants and contracts. Tuition and fees, it's also up there with the state appropriations. So, and then anything after that is 6% or less. You can see that breakdown there. Similar graph, but this is for your expenses. Instruction and instructional support are your two biggest expenses, which is to be expected for a college or college district. Everything else you can see there. Once you take those two out, the other ones are 10% or less. So that's my summary of the audit this year. So overall, it was a good audit, clean audit, no findings. So the presentation on the financial statements. Y'all have any questions for me?
How long does it take to conduct an audit to this magnitude?
So we probably spent about anywhere between 500 and 600 hours, like an hour. So there, yeah. So about that much, yeah. Spread over 5 to 6 months.
The information and everything.
Yeah, we'll come out here for a few weeks, but I mean, we're obviously working on it as when we go back to the office and remotely and things of that sort. But yeah, I think it's probably around 500 or 600 hours.
And our hat is off to the business office and the accounting department. Y'all, it is huge to be able to do the work on the back end so we have a clean audit. And then whenever they show up, you're having to produce all of the evidence. So there's a lot of digging and moving around. And so just kudos, Chris, to you and your team. And it's a big lift.
Are there any questions?
In front of you, you've got your own copy of the audit. You're more than welcome to go through it. If you have any questions, contact me or Tiffany. We'll get you a Roger
This is your only chance. You can ask me right now.
Well, appreciate that, and I believe this comes as a recommendation.
Yeah, big deal. Roger, thank you we Finance Committee met yesterday and went over all of this with Roger, and we bring to this board a recommendation for approval of the audit.
Are there any other discussions or questions around this? And again, I'll echo your thanks to the business office. All right.
I would just say this is as clean as you get.
Yeah.
So,
I've never seen anything cleaner.
No.
And you should know clean. All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. Item 8, Records Management Annual Report. Chris?
Thank you. I keep waiting for Denise to ask a student what's their favorite part of Amarillo College, and they'll say the business office. Someday that will happen. So this is our annual records report to you guys. We followed the Texas State Library Archives Commission in their rules on archiving our records. So every piece of paper that we produce has a time frame on it that we have to keep. So annually, we look at all the documents that we've stored and go through them, and when it's time to dispose of them, then we dispose of them. So in October, we had that meeting, and we had 252 items for review. Of that, we withdrew 21 of those items and retained them. The remaining consisted of 231 boxes of paper records. Those were destroyed this month, and those were destroyed through the records management committee through Amarillo College in our policy. So just a report to you guys that we are staying on top of our records, retaining them as long as we need to retain them, but then we're destroying them when they need to be destroyed. So if you have any questions, comments, there's no action on this item other than just a report to you.
How long do we have to maintain them?
It depends on what type of record it is. 3 years up to 7 years, and then some things we keep for forever. So it just depends on what it is.
Give you for example, in the counseling center, the notes that we have and the interactions that we have with the students, we keep that for 3 years after they graduate. So it ends up being a piece where you have to track it, but every one of the things we do has a slightly different piece of it. But as Chris said, it's usually between 3 and 7.
Is this like physical records and electronic records as well?
It's both, yes. As the college moves more towards electronic, we've got some programs. Our IT department has done a really good job of giving us programs where they track the length of time that these documents need to remain in our system, and then when that time runs out, then they're deleted after we review them. So.
Good.
And no action is required. Are there any questions for Chris? Thank you. We'll move on to item number 9, nominations for Potter Randall Appraisal District Board of Directors. We will have a motion for Potter, for Randall, and then on item 10 also for Moore. The Potter County Appraisal District shows 5 people running for 5 seats, and typically we apportion our votes. There were 6 people for Randall County and 6 people for Moore County. So I asked Kathy for recommendations about Moore County. I asked Catherine Wiegand, since she's on the board at Canyon ISD, for recommendations of the strongest candidates. And we have those in a motion. If anybody feels strongly otherwise about of those 6, the 5 that we choose, we can discuss when we get there, but we'll have Potter motion first.
Okay.
And does anybody do you need to say anything else about this?
I don't think so, unless you have questions. For Potter County, we have 400 votes. You can spread those out amongst the 5, or you can use all those 400 votes for one person. It doesn't matter how you do it. Our recommendation is that you spread them out evenly amongst the 5 candidates. So.
Okay, John, you have that motion.
I move for Potter County that we approve the resolution casting votes for the members of the Board of Directors of Potter County Appraisal District, with the votes being casted as follows. John Coffey, 80 votes. Zachary Plummer, 80 votes. Cindy Spinell, 80 votes. Misty Wade, 80 votes, and Thomas Warren III, 80 votes.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
For the minutes.
All, that motion carries. And then Randall County. Do you want to list the people, who they are, before you make your motion? Just who those 5 of the 6 are?
That's part of the motion, isn't it?
It is, but just so people hear the
Claudia
name.
Burkett, Bob Lindsay, Robin Patterson, Diane Thurman, and Ginger White.
For Randall County.
For Randall County. Okay. I move that we approve the resolution casting votes for the members of the Board of Directors of Randall County Appraisal District, with the votes being cast as followed, with 76 votes each. Claudia Burkett, Bob Lindsay, Robin Patterson, Diane Thurman, and Ginger White.
I'll entertain a motion. Or a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, so we'll move on to item 10 for Moore County. And similar thing, Michelle, would you read the names? And then
Sure. The 5 names for Moore County are Paresh Bakhtat, Ben Maples, Seth Seal, Darren Stallwitz, and David Sykes.
All right. Any discussion around that choice? Okay.
I move that we approve the resolution casting votes for the members of the Board of Directors of Moore County Appraisal District, with the votes being cast as follows. Paresh Bakhtat, 21 votes. Ben Maples, 21 votes. Seth Seal, 20 votes. Darren Stallwitz, 20 votes. David Sykes, 20 votes.
I'll take a second. Thank you. Irene, second. Any other discussion?
Do we have to authorize the signing of the resolution?
I've signed it.
Okay. Yeah. The resolution just reflects exactly what we just did.
Yes.
We haven't voted yet.
No. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. Motion carries. Great. Item 11. Tiffany, what is your favorite part of Amarillo College?
The business office.
Business office.
The end of the Regent meeting.
Bingo.
When audit's over. So in your packet, you have the financials for year to date through October. I just want to point out that these are still preliminary, so we can't really close the year until they're gone. So now that we're officially done with the audit, we'll go back and we'll redo September and October, just true them up to make sure we didn't have to make any entries that changed in any of these areas. But they're pretty so I just want to point out the big swings. So on page 12, that is your internal and audited statement of net position. So this is your balance sheet, your assets. And your big change really is just a movement of assets around. So our construction in progress was 35 million or 36 million at the end of October, and it's only 9 million at the end of October now in 23. So we have a lot of projects that are finished, so we've taken them off the construction in progress and we've moved them over and capitalized them and added buildings or parts of the buildings. So you'll see that in the property and equipment line that's next. And so your total assets are down 9 million from this time last year. A lot of that is in cash and short-term investments as we're purchasing things to do the construction, because bond funds are in here as well. So on page 13, I just want to show you where you can see that if you look under total liabilities, which is halfway down the page,
we're about $4 million difference from October of 22 to October of 23. And if you look in that very first line under current liabilities, our payables are up $5 million. So that just shows that as we're working on all these projects and when you send your stuff into us and we voucher it and get it ready to pay, it sits in here until we actually make that payment. So that's gone up $5 million. It's not subscriptions and things sitting there. It's actually us doing these construction projects. So that's our big change in liabilities, is the amount of money that we're spending out in these projects. If you'll go to page 14, this is your revenue for the year. And the first column and the last column are the two that we look at. They're year to date. So the first column is through 22, so September and October of 22. Your total revenue is $23.6 million. At the end of October 23, your revenue was $23.4 million. So we're right on target of where we were at this point last year. And on page 15, this is the expense side of it. So towards the very bottom, you're still going to look at first column and last column. You'll see a line that says total expense. The first column, $19,425,204. It has the wrong date at the top, but that is through October, not January of 2000. That is your total expenses through the end of October 22. On the far right side is the year-to-date expenses through October of 23, which is $20,909,111. That's an increase of about $1.5 million in expenses at this time. One of the things that we were able to do this year with the ease of these auditors compared to what we've had in the past was that we felt comfortable enough with them out here to go ahead and start working forward for the real year. So normally, like last year, we couldn't close the year till January or February. And so we just kind of held off on depreciating any assets, putting anything in our fixed asset system. But this year we actually felt comfortable enough with the communications we had with them that we were okay to move forward. So you'll notice on this depreciation line, there was nothing at this time last year because we didn't do anything. We were holding off until we made sure the audit was good. This year we went ahead and depreciated the stuff from September and October. And so it's $1.2 million different from this time last year. So that's really your major difference in expenses is timing. Does anybody have any questions?
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Tony and Michelle. Any other questions?
Just want to say no findings has only happened like 2 times ever, and I've been here 11 years. So just saying.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. And we don't have a need for a closed meeting, so I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
And Jay seconds.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Merry Christmas. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoyed your poinsettia, and Santa Claus brought some delightful things, I'm sure.
Thank you, Santa.
Thank you, Santa. You're welcome. And